Hi and welcome to Northern Wine Banter, where I want to talk about all things wine. If you're new to this channel, then please subscribe and like the video below. This week I'm going to be talking about, would you rather have one bottle of wine that adds up to a certain value of wine, or would you rather have 6 bottles of wine that adds up to the same value? I'm also going to look at the calendar of events and introduce you to Tulula. Hi, this is Burgundy Nick and this is Northern Wine Banter, where I aim to talk about all things wine and educate you and entertain you, hopefully all at the same time. This week's episode we're going to talk about, would you rather have one bottle of wine or 6 bottles of wine that add up to the same amount of money? We're also going to have a quick look at the calendar events and what's happening in the wine world. I'm also going to try this Burgundy and also this red Pinot Noir. So this one's about £90 and this is about £15. So as part of my giveaway that I did the other week on my Instagram account, because I'd reached 20,000 viewers, I did a poll about, would you rather have this wine or 6 bottles of wine? And actually the results were about 50-50. I was also sat having dinner the other day, and so 2 random strangers, I also asked them, would they rather have 1 bottle of wine or 6 bottles of wine? Okay, would you rather have a £90 bottle of wine or 6 bottles of wine that added up to £90?
6 bottles of wine that added up to £90.
And yourself?
The opposite. Just straight.
Well, so why would a bottle of wine cost £90? In fact, why would anybody buy a bottle of wine for £90? You must be mad. But the reasons why a wine costs what it does is it's a multitude of reasons. But you've got things like in the vineyard, you know, where you have, like in Pinot Grigio, you've got massive big yields, 90 hectolitres per hectare, or in Burgundy you can go down to legally 25, but often they produce even less than 20 hectolitres per hectare. So you're producing more wine in a smaller vineyard. But also, as well, you've got things like, you know, you do mechanical harvesting, you use hand harvesting, you use labour that is really cheap, like in China, or you've got really expensive labour. You've also got speed to market. If you have a wine that only takes, you know, from picking to out the door, only takes a few months, whereas in Rioja and a Grand Reserve, it can take over 5 years, at least 5 years before it gets out. So you've got all these costs attributed to that. There is also thing about size as well. So Barefoot produce about 250 million bottles a year. Some producers and some vineyards produce just a few thousand bottles. So you've got economies of scales there. You know, a bottle, if you've got purchasing power because you're producing so much money, you know, you get things a lot cheaper, and everything else sort of is cheaper as well over that time scale and over each bottle that you've got. And the other fundamental factor as well is supply and demand. If you've got, you know, like this Premier Cru Burgundy, you know, you're only making a few thousand bottles of that, and so you've got a very small supply, but actually you've got quite a big demand. You know, that demand means that you're going to be able to sell that at a much higher price. And as a vigneron, you know, you're not going to sell it at what it costs you to make, because somebody's just going to buy that and then sell that on for a massive big profit. So why would you buy 1 bottle at £90 and actually and 6 bottles at, you know, for on average 15 quid? I mean, 15 quid a bottle is actually probably too much for some people. You've got a very tight budget, you know, and so 15 quid, let alone 90 quid bottle of wine, is far too expensive. So you're buying something at a cheaper end. But actually, if you've got a little bit more money, then actually, you know, they always say the 10 to 20 pound is actually a bit bang on of like getting quality price ratio is there. But, you know, something that costs £90, why would you purchase a bottle that costs £90? You know, and I'm going to hopefully show you that the difference of that. I'm going to taste them. You can go out and buy them if you want. So here I have. So I've got this actually really cracking value Pinot Noir. So it's from my good friend James, who owns Burgundy in the Limoux in France. And you know, let me just get that off. Pinot Noir is notoriously a difficult grape to grow because it's got thin skin, so you often find it only in cooler climates. Oh, it smells absolutely delightful. So let's get a little slurp of that, shall we? So lovely red fruits, a little bit of earthiness to it, and it's juicy, it's absolutely cracking. All those red fruits are coming through there, lovely acidity, absolutely delicious. Not massively complex, but yeah, you would not be disappointed with that. So next we're going to be drinking a 20. So this is the £90 bottle of wine. So the Burgundy is around 15 quid bottle. But this, I'm going to be drinking a 2012 Vosne-Romanée from the Premier Cru site. Well, there we go. I can't get the top off there. So this is Bichot's from Malconsol. So 2012, really good year in Burgundy. You know, so we're talking, what's that, 14 years old. And, you know, if you ever get the opportunity to drink something like this, you know, you need to go around to my house in Harrogate, pop round, let's have some. Right, okay, so here goes. So, instantly a very different nose. You know, it's got more earthiness, more mushroomy, but lots of different fruits in there. Oh, I could smell that all day. Oh, beautiful. It's got a crescendo of red fruits, mushroominess, earthiness. There's a little bit of spice in there. Absolutely delicious. The length is much longer than the Burgundy, but you know, delicious. But you know, for 15 quid, that's banging. Obviously, it tastes a little bit more simpler now compared to the 90 quid, but that's why I fell in love with Burgundy. So, but that's the thing, isn't it? You know, a 90 quid bottle of wine, the difference is quite stark in that. But the £15 bottle of wine is actually just as good. And if you know, it's not about having saying I've got a refined palate or any of that. It's, you know, it's about what you can afford. And there's nothing wrong with, if you can't afford a £90 bottle of wine, or even a £50 bottle of wine, or a £20 bottle of wine, you know, but it's all about you. You know, it's not about me. I can sit here and obviously I've just drunk had a sip of a £90 bottle of wine, a 15 quid bottle of wine. But, you know, that doesn't matter, you know, for everybody out there. You should be just drinking whatever you feel comfortable with paying. And I'm not here to tell you should be drinking that or you should be drinking this. You should just be drinking some bloody good wine, whether it's at 5 quid bottle, 15 quid or 150 quid. If you've got the money and you can afford a massive, big, expensive bottle of wine, yeah, knock your socks off. But, you know, if not, there's plenty of wines out there that are in your price range that will also knock your socks off. Isn't that right, Tulula? You're not very talkative today, are you, Tulula? Anyway, so would you rather have a 15 bottle of wine? To be honest here, 6 bottles all at 15 quid. You know, absolutely fantastic. My cellar is actually full of lots of wines at that range. It's also full of quite a few more expensive wines because I've got an expensive taste in Burgundy. But there's nothing wrong with having a £15 bottle of wine or having an expensive bottle of wine. And you know, knock your socks off. It's up to you, isn't it? You enjoy what you enjoy, and I'll enjoy what, Cheers. So in the next couple of weeks, what are we? We're on Tuesday the 9th, so it's Rosé Day on the 13th. Hope you've got all your rosés sort of. And then you got Chenin Blanc Day on the 20th. Lambrusco Day. Lambrusco is a fantastic wine. Please don't overlook that. And then we're coming into Prosecco Week and Sparkling Wine Week, coming towards the end of June and July. As always, if you've got a shout out for something specific, then please let me know. So, Tulula, and she should introduce you to Tulula. She's actually dressed in red, so we've been drinking red wine, we've been drinking Pinot Noir and some absolutely fantastic Burgundy. So if you've liked what you see, then please follow me on Instagram, and if you like this, then subscribe below, and all my links are in the description below, and the links that the two wines that I've been tasting tonight, that they'll be in the description below as well. This is Burgundy Nick, and this is Northern Wine Banter. Thank you very much.